Hey, parents and teachers, I hope you're having a great day. I have a letter from a mom here that I'm going to read to you. And it says, Hi, Seth. Do you have any information or insight you can share on getting teens to take ownership or buy in? Great, great, great question because it's a huge issue. Um, Lack of motivation, procrastination, things like that have everything to do with buy in and ownership. Constantly bang my head against the wall as I try countless tools and techniques to make life easier or better for my teenage daughter. The one thing that is missing is buy in. I've come to the conclusion that I can continue to spend endless hours reading and research and searching for ideas that will benefit her, but until I have her buy in, it's all for naught. This is very frustrating as life doesn't have to be this challenging for her. I feel you. Any information would be appreciated. Well, I have 6 ways that six ideas I'm gonna give you for how to help increase buy-in. And first, I'm gonna give you a little bit of background to set you up for those. But none of this is easy, and it's not going to be. I mean, you guys have an uphill battle, and it's hard. But what I can tell you is, I've been doing this a long time, and change happens. You have to be patient, you have to be persistent, and you have to be diligent. But with my clients, we see change. So don't stop. Don't give up. This is real. The brain can change and these habits can change. It's just not easy at all. So, first, I want to define buy in and ownership. So, buy in and ownership refers to a sense that a person has bought into something, that it means something to them. Ownership is just the same basic concept. They take ownership because they have a part in it, they own part of it. So, for example, if I have a child and I go and I buy them a bunch of folders and 3-ring binders and notebooks and stuff, and I come home and I say, hey, here's your notebooks. There you go. You should be grateful. They don't have any ownership. They didn't get to choose the colors, they didn't get to choose the styles. They don't have any ownership of they weren't involved in the process. They don't have any ownership in those items. They may or may not appreciate it, but if there's ownership, they will have more of an appreciation. Buy-in, of course, is very similar. Buy-in would be that they have an interest in these things. For using the same example, you might say to your child before you go shopping for school stuff, hey, do you want to feel pretty organized this year? Yeah. Well, if they say yeah, you've got a little bit of buy-in. Okay, well, what do you think you need? And they might say, well, I need some good supplies. And you say, okay, well, where do you want to go for supplies? And they say, oh, well, I want to go to this office store. And you say, okay, well, what kind of supplies do you think would help you be successful? And they say, oh, this and this. That's buy-in because they're taking the ownership of it. They have buy-in. Now when you go to the store, they're more invested. Problem is we are asking these kids to do things with no ownership and no buy-in. We're telling them what classes to take, how long they last, who their teachers are, what books they need, what the curriculum is going to be like, what the tests are like, what the papers are like, what the projects are like. We're not giving them a part of the process. Why would they be interested? So many schools fail to do this right, and it's not rocket science. But schools depend on these things called curriculum, which are often very top down. They're designed by people they don't know in places we don't know, based on research, supposedly, that's supposedly going to help raise scores because we have this whole system that believes that these scores are so valuable. And a lot of things revolve around this. Anyhow, I'm not going to get on too much of a rant, but the point is the way that it's constructed is not constructed in a way to give them ownership and buy-in. That's a problem. So let me explore 4 specific reasons that your child doesn't have buy-in. One, they don't have very good future thinking anyhow. A lot of kids who struggle with executive function and a lot of teens and kids are not good at looking realistically into the future and saying, oh, I want to set myself up to be successful. I'm going to need financial stability, strong relationships, yada, yada, yada. They just don't understand the reality of the consequences of their actions. The brain just hasn't developed to that state yet for a lot of kids. Number two on why they don't have ownership and buy-in is because there's a lack of reward, whether internal or external. They're not rewarded by it feeling meaningful, because a lot of the curriculum is not meaningful to them. They're not rewarded by being engaged. Same thing, because it's not meaningful, it's not engaging, it's not interesting, it's not stimulating. So they don't have buy-in because there's no reward. Number three, they sometimes don't have buy-in because it not only doesn't feel good and engaging, but it feels bad. They're associating their school experiences and their learning and their homework and their tests and all of these things with feeling bad, with feeling like I'm not enough. I can't do enough. I never do it right. This always happens. Why even try? And they can be shamed. You're lazy. You don't try your best. You just don't care about school enough. You're just unmotivated. You're just undisciplined. So these shaming messages are very unmotivated. Does not increase buy-in. And number four, because they are legitimately overwhelmed. The vast quantity of tasks that we are asking them to do is absolutely overwhelming. You only have 100 energy points in the day, and you only have 4 places they can go. You spend your energy physically, emotionally, mentally, and socially. Once you exceed your daily energy points, you are now in overwhelm. So these kids are often running in overwhelm, in fight or flight. So for them to be asked to have extra buy-in for something that's not meaningful or engaging is a tall order. So those are 4 reasons why they're not bought in. Now let's look at 6 ways that you can increase buy-in. 1, discuss the future. They don't have great future thought, but discuss it in a really relaxed, fun, engaged way with your kid. Have heart-to-hearts with your kid. Turn off the technology. Sit down with them. Tell them you want to have a talk. Bring out family albums. Talk about the future. Ask them what their hopes and dreams and goals are. And really invest in multiple conversations with your child over the next several years. Every month or 2, have a big sit-down conversation about this stuff. And when you're discussing the future, talk about education. And what I always talk about with kids is the meaning of education. The Latin word educare, what education comes from, means to launch or to bring forth or to bring forward or to bring up. And the funny thing is that we say we bring up our kids, we raise our kids, and that's what education is about, bringing up, raising, bringing them up in the world. Why? So that they can launch. What does launch mean? To me, it means that they can launch a happy and successful future where they can go for their hopes and dreams, where they have the skills and knowledge to go for their hopes and dreams. Very simple. But have that discussion with them. What is education for? Like, zoom out with your kid and have these discussions. Number 2, to increase buy-in and ownership, is to be honest with them. Sometimes it is boring. Sometimes they are asked to do meaningless stuff. When I'm working with kids and a kid says, I hate this, I look at them and I go, I get that. Doesn't look very interesting to me either. But it's a necessary evil. So how are we going to get through it? So I don't let them just stop there, but I say, I acknowledge it, man. I would feel the same way with a lot of the stuff that I see these kids going through. I'm not going to lie to these kids, but you want to really be honest with them and really be like, yeah, I get it. That is boring, or that does not seem meaningless. I understand how you could say, when will you ever use that? Because I honestly don't know when you will ever use that, rather than trying to convince them of the value of it, which usually backfires. Number 3, next, and similarly, is to hold space for them. Don't try to fix anything for them. Don't try to change the way things are for them. Don't try to convince them. Don't try to logic them. Just hold space and listen. Listen to their experience. Be an emotionally safe person that they can come to and that they can express and share their frustrations. Don't tell them how they should be. Just listen. Ask them, how can I help you? How can I support you? Rather than telling them what you suggest. Get the buy-in first from the type of support that they want from you. Number 4, reward them. Things don't feel meaningful to them because it doesn't feel meaningful. Emotion is so important here. They have to feel good. And what I mean by reward them is reward them verbally and authentically and sincerely for the things that you see and appreciate and notice about them. Hey, I noticed you tried really hard on that. Hey, I noticed that you're getting really resistant about that, but you're being honest with me about it. Hey, I noticed that you self-started on your own today. Even though you hit a wall, you self-started. Really focus on what you notice. Use the 3-to-1 rule. I talk a lot with parents about the 3-to-1 rule. 3 positives to every 1 perceived negative. Tell them 3 positive things. Tell them lots and lots of positive things. Reward them so that when they leave you, they leave on a high note. Rewarding them verbally will help increase engagement, and it'll help make it more meaningful to them. Now, teachers can really reward them by making things more interesting and engaging. When you have a great teacher who's able to make the curriculum meaningful to the kids, that automatically is rewarding to them. Something being meaningful is rewarding. When a teacher is really engaging, when a teacher is a great storyteller, when a teacher engages in their craft as a master, and they're able to inspire a group of children, that's rewarding in and of itself. So number 4 is that they have to have some sort of a reward in order for them to be bought in or to take ownership. Number 5 is to reduce overwhelm. Remember I said social, emotional, cognitive, and physical energy. How can you reduce the overwhelm? In all 4 of those domains, some things will give us more energy and some things will suck energy for us. So for example, some social experiences enliven us, but some are draining. Some people are really draining to us. But look at all the different areas and see how you can reduce the overwhelm. You might get an executive function coach. Dive into my blog. Look at the executive function stuff. Make life easier for them by giving them systems and tools so that they're less overwhelmed with having to manage the schoolwork. And last, and this is similar to the reward, it's basically restating the reward one. Just make them feel good. Use the 3-to-1 rule. Leave them on a high note, have them feeling good. I know that's a bit redundant. Either way, parents and teachers, don't stop. Patiently, persistently, and diligently continue to help with these things, and you will see more buy-in and more engagement. This is a long, messy process. Patiently, persistently, and diligently continue. Good luck. Meanwhile, if you like this video, please share it with somebody right now. That helps me and helps my blog grow. And it also helps the person you're sharing it with. And please hit subscribe in YouTube. And you can turn on notifications if you want, and it will tell you every time I put out a new video. Have a great day.